Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, to FishMD, the place where we dive into the ocean of health and science. My name is Michael, I'm a medical doctor, and today's talk is about Elon Musk's revolutionary brain chip company called Neuralink, that promises to make the handicapped walk again and the blind to see again. People, we're talking about installing chips directly into your brain. So, how does it work, and can Elon live up to his promises? Will it even be possible to download sequences of skills directly into your brain, like in my all-time favorite movie, The Matrix?
I know Kung Fu.
Continue watching to find out. Before we dive into the juicy stuff, let's understand how Neuralink works. Neuralink was founded in 2016 by Elon Musk alongside 7 other geeks, engineers, and has developed a so-called brain-computer interface. The device can transmit signals from your brain directly onto a computer. This is not a new idea. BCIs, brain-computer interfaces, have been around for decades. The most common one is a so-called electroencephalogram, EEG. In an EEG, the individual has small electrodes placed on the head alongside with wires that read the tiny signals that occur when brain cells, neural cells, communicate with each other. What Neuralink has done is that it places the whole setup inside the skull, making it an invasive BCI because it has to be placed there surgically. Hereby, Neuralink is able to detect a much clearer signal because the skull does not dampen the signal. So, how does the device the size of a coin get into the skull? Well, yes, you guessed it right. This is not for the faint of heart. The chip the size of a coin gets placed surgically into your skull. To implant it, the neurosurgeon has to cut the skin, remove part of your skull, and then a surgical robot places tiny threads onto your motor cortex. The motor cortex is the area of your brain that controls limb movements. The threads are so thin that they make human hair look like a garden hose. That's why the placement has to be done surgically.
What? What the hell?
Because human hands are just too clumsy to handle these fine threads. The threads are connected to the link. The link then replaces the part of the skull that was removed. The skin is sewn back together and voila, you have a Neuralink implanted. Nobody will know this, not even your own mother. The device is battery powered. Battery life is about 24 hours and charging is via induction. Once inside the brain, the thread containing over 1000 electrodes is able to detect the small electrochemical signals that occur during thought processes. This information is then sent to the link, which converts it into a wireless Bluetooth signal for the computer. So, what Neuralink currently does is read and transmit signals from certain areas of your brain where the electrodes are in place. So, I know what you're thinking. What can this chip do besides making you look like you're auditioning for the next Matrix movie? Great question. The Neuralink team has been working tirelessly to improve the capabilities of the chip. One of the first demonstrations included a pig named Gertrude, which had the device implanted in its skull. And what happened was that every time an object touched its nose, the link or the threads would detect this signal, send it to the computer, which would give off an acoustic signal. The impressive part hereby was that everything was wireless. In one of the later presentations, Elon Musk and his team showed a monkey playing Pong with a computer by just using his mind. They incentivized him playing Pong by feeding him a delicious banana smoothie through a metal straw. I mean, who wouldn't want a delicious banana smoothie for playing video games, right? What they first did was training him to use a joystick to play the game and at the same time reading the signals that his motor cortex generated. Thereby, they determined which neurons fire when he moves his hand up and down. These signals were then fed into a decoder algorithm, which then predicted where the monkey's hand would go if certain neurons fire. After just a few minutes of this calibration process, the monkey is able to control the cursor just by thinking about moving his hand. Very impressive if you ask me, especially the wireless part. But that's not all, people. Elon Musk and his team have even bigger plans. What they later want to do is implant the device into handicapped people, thereby allowing them to control a computer or a smartphone by just using their mind, giving them a bit of freedom and autonomy. We are talking about people controlling a smartphone without even moving a single muscle. Further applications are supposedly letting the blind people see again by inserting the threads not into the motor cortex but into the visual cortex, meaning the brain area that processes what we see with our eyes, inserting threads into this visual cortex, which are then connected to a camera which is located in front of your face. They are also experimenting making disabled people move their limbs again, for example after a spinal cord injury. After such an injury, there is usually an interruption in the signal which travels from the brain through the spinal cord into the muscle which is supposed to be moved. By inserting a Neuralink into the brain and into the spinal cord below the site of the injury, the researchers would be able to bypass the site of the injury. It's like a science fiction movie coming to life. Now, this may sound like unicorns and rainbows, but what's the catch? In my opinion, there are still a lot of obstacles that Musk has to overcome before this vision becomes reality. One of the major red flags I see is that the deadline for human trials have repeatedly been pushed back and back again. This is probably related to the questionable long-term safety of the device. In Neuralink's live presentation from fall 2022, it was said that the longest the device had been implanted into an animal was about 600 days, which roughly translates into 2 years, which in medical term is not a long time. And the problem with devices like this are the ones that occur long term. This includes inflammation and the formation of scar tissue around the threads and the link itself, which may lead to unforeseeable problems such as a seizure. Furthermore, you have corrosion of the link, which may impair the functionality of the device and even irritate the brain. These are some serious challenges, but hey, who doesn't like a good challenge, right? And if somebody's up for it, it's Elon. Hey, I mean, if they are able to pull this off, they will give handicapped people the freedom to access a mobile phone or a computer at their will. And that's like giving them superpowers. And that's not all. Imagine being able to walk again after a spinal cord injury. Okay, this might be a long-term goal, but hey, theoretically it's possible. Also, the idea of putting new information and skills into your brain, like in the movie The Matrix, is something that is still in a very distant future. Because as of now, the device is only able to read and translate signals. But hey, maybe one day it's possible. But now let's talk about the coolest thing. This guy is able to visualize tiny blood vessels and precisely place the minuscule threads into the brain. This is especially difficult as the brain moves during the surgery as the person breathes, but this guy is able to balance these small movements out like a pro. So, there you have it, folks. Neuralink, the first step in turning humans into cyborgs. What do you think about the device? Would you get one for yourself or your dog? Thanks for watching FishMD. where we always keep it fun, entertaining and informative. Till the next time, bye bye.